Okay, so we're going to talk about finding circumference and perimeter. Well, first things first, the difference between circumference and perimeter. Well, circumference refers specifically to the outside part of a circle, the distance around the outside part of the circle. Perimeter, technically circumference is the perimeter of the circle, but perimeter is just the outside of any shape, so it doesn't have to be necessarily a known shape. So for instance, if we have one of the shapes we had previously in unit, if we had a shape like this, we can find the perimeter of this shape by adding up all the bits. Okay, so that's perimeter. Whereas circumference is specifically got to do with a circle, the outside, the line I've just drawn, distance. Okay, so I'm going to do some example questions. You don't need to take notes, just watch for today. All right. So I'm going to find, the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to find the circumference of a circle, and we're going to do it in terms of pi. I'm going to give one answer, and then a second answer, correct to 2 decimal places. So that would require some rounding like you did on my maths. Okay, so here's my circle. Perhaps badly drawn, but its diameter is going to be 7.8 meters. Okay. If you can do this faster than me, type your 2 answers in the chat. Let's see if you can get it. All right, so I need to do part 1 in terms of pi. So I need to remember my circumference formula. Remember, it's directly related to pi. That symbol we've looked at over the last few days, the mathematical constant pi. Okay, so circumference, if we remember this, can be calculated just by using the diameter and multiplying it by pi. Okay, so this first one wants me to give the answer in terms of the symbol pi. So that's quite simple. The circumference will be the diameter, which is 7.8, that was the diameter, times pi. And we know from algebra, well, timesing by the symbol pi is like timesing by an x. You don't need the times symbol, you can just shove it together and you get 7.8 pi. And that is the answer. You just shove them together. 7.8 times pi. And we just use the symbol. So that's how we write an answer in terms of pi. In other words, that symbol is in your answer. So it's just the diameter and then pi after it. Now part 2 asked me to actually use the 2 decimal places. So if I want 2 decimal places, that means I got to use the decimal for pi, which is, as we all really well know now, 3.14159265353 and so on. But we won't use it all. We will use just 3.14. We're just going to use 3.14 and have rounded it to that position. Okay, so to 2 decimal places, so let's see how well we've rounded that. So I think it's 24.49. Well, let's see. It's going to be 7.8 times, now instead of pi, we're going to use its 3.14. So this time we use the symbol, and this one we're going to use 3.14. Now this is why you need a calculator for this unit, because multiplying these decimals will get complicated. So I'm going to take out my calculator, and I have 7.8 multiplied by 3.14. And that gives me, I want to change it to a decimal, 24.492. Now my question asks for 2 decimal places, so I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places. So I need to include 2 numbers after the decimal. So that'll be 24.49. Now does that 9 round up? No, because 2 is less than 5, so it just disappears. Okay. Yeah. Now you'll get a slightly different answer if you use all the decimal places of pi and the pi button on your calculator. But not all calculators have that pi button. So I'm just going to get you to use 3.14. You're going to, so as Ethan says, if you use the pi button, which on my calculator is down here, if you see, if I just clear this for a second, if I press Shift and press this button, the multiply by 10x button, look at it, and there's my pi symbol. And I can use that if I want. If I want going to multiply, and that'll give me the full decimal of pi. Well, not the full decimal, it'll have rounded it at some stage. But just use 3.14. I think that's fine for everybody for now. Okay. Very good. So a number of people got that. So that's how, this is like a green example of a question. So it asks you to give circumference in terms of pi and decimal. And that's all you have to do. The only difference might be if they don't give you the diameter and they give you only half of it, they give you the radius, you'll have to double it before you start. And that's the only difference for green. Okay, so let's look at a more difficult, how a more difficult question might arise, and that would be if the question is asking for perimeter. So yellow kind of follows that as well, but there's a little trick. So this next question, question 2, is going to be a yellow level question. So it's going to ask to find the perimeter of this shape. So once again, don't take notes. You can watch this video again later if you want when you're doing the work. Okay, so this is a semicircle. All right, and it is of 8 centimeters across here. So it's a semicircle of 8 centimeters across. Now, I only know the formula for a full circle. So how am I going to get the circumference of a semicircle? Osborne's already at 33.12. Is that your answer for this one? Okay. Well, let's imagine it is. Yes, let's imagine it is a full circle. Okay, I haven't drawn it very well, but let's imagine it is a full circle. And that full circle would have a diameter of 8. And as Priyanka says, a semicircle would just have half of that. So let's work out the circumference first. Imaginary circumference. We don't have the full circle, but let's imagine it did. It'd be the diameter times pi. And they didn't specify, I didn't specify, but if they don't specify, use just 3.14. 8 times 3.14. So I'm going to do this on my calculator. So I've imagined this is a full circle and just done my usual thing. So 8 multiplied by 3.14 will get me the circumference of a full circle. So that's 25.12. So I've imagined it's a full circle, but it's only half the circle. So I'm going to divide by 2 for a half circle, or semicircle. Okay, so divide by 2. If I had only a quarter of a circle, I divide by 4. If I had an eighth of a circle, I divide by 8. Okay, so 25 divided by 2, and there's a number of conversations going on in the chat, and yeah, there's some valid points there about why you add the 8, but we'll get to that. So that's 12.56. Okay, is that my answer? No, because that has only given me the semicircular part, this part. It's only given me this curvy bit, and the perimeter is the total around the outside of it. I need to include an extra 8. This bit, don't I? Perimeter is the total of the area or the perimeter of the shape. It has to be all sides included. So I need to include this 8. So I add an 8, as Ozzy said, add my 8 centimeters, and I get 20.56 centimeters. Now, with no restriction in the question, find the perimeter of the shape, I don't do any rounding here at the end. But if that's because I used 3.14. But if you used your full pi, just round it to 2 decimal places. Yeah. So Ethan's probably using the pi button on his calculator, so you can just round it to 2 decimal places if it doesn't say. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So with these compound or half shapes, just divide by 2, but don't forget to include this extra bit which encompasses the shape. Okay, so that's an example of a difficult yellow question. And I'm going to finish this with a blue type question. Okay, so again, I'm going to, it's going to be a perimeter. So once again, I'm going to put up here, so, and if you can get it faster than me, go for it. Of this shape. And we'll do 2 decimal places in case somebody wants to use. So it's 2 decimals. Okay. So this shape is this shape. I'm going to find the perimeter of this shape. So let's give it some dimensions. This is a square, 10 centimeters squared, and it is also, this would be the diameter of the full circle, but we don't have a full circle, we only have a quarter of a circle. Now, do we have enough information to find the perimeter of this entire shape? So if you can do this faster than me, you can. Okay, so already 2 different answers. Okay, so let's deal with the circle. So this is, yeah, it's a quarter of a circle because this is a 90-degree angle here. It's a quarter of a circle. So, no, I'm not doing area, just the perimeter. So this is a quarter of a circle. Now, what's the diameter if it was a full circle? So it would be, if it was a full circle, it'd be something like that. So the diameter of a full circle would be, well, that would be 10, the diameter of the full circle. Okay, so once again, I'm going to work off circumference of a full circle and then divide. So it's the diameter times pi. So 10 times 3.14, which gives me 31.4, of course. But I don't have a full circle. I only have a quarter of it. This curvy bit is only a quarter of a full circle. So I'm going to divide by 4. So 3.1 or 31.4 divided by 4. I'm going to take out my calculator. And that gives me 7.85. 7.85. Okay, centimeters. Now, how much of the surface have I actually done, or sorry, the perimeter have I actually done here? I've only done this curvy bit. So I got to include all the rest of the straight lines. I got to, my outside of the shape would include an extra 10, another 10, another 10, and then this bit, and then I have my shape all enclosed. So I'll just put that here. So I have 7.85 is my curvy bit, plus 10, plus another 10, plus another 10, and then this little bit here, that's going to be 5 because it's halfway, and that's 5 up there because it's, that'd be a radius of the circle, and if the diameter is 10, the radius is 5. Adding all those up together, let's see, did anyone get the right answer? A few 47.85s there. 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 40 plus this, it's 47.85 units. It would be centimeters for a distance, and that's the total. Okay, that is an example of a blue level question. There's a couple other ones regarding rotations, similar to the My Maths last question that was due for today. So if you didn't quite get the My Maths done yet, and there's one or two of you do clear it. It's due by the end of today, so do clear it today. Otherwise, I'll be sending some notifications. Any questions on any of that before I let you